Hi everyone, welcome back. I wanted to address some comments that were made in a guy by the fence. And actually this is just some background on my husband and a little story at the end. My husband was 8 years older than I, because that's what I was kind of subconsciously wanting at the time. I wanted a mentor, and he was that mentor. He was a Scorpio in all of his planets in his zodiac, so that he was a Scorpio's Scorpio, with all the good and bad that comes with being a Scorpio. He was the middle boy. He had 2 older sisters and 1 younger sister. His father was an alcoholic, like mine, so we both understood. It was nice to have someone who understood that background that I was coming from. He had been physically, sexually, and mentally abused as a child, and the sexual abuse made him very empathetic to women. And in fact, we have one or two times when we were in the emergency room for other things, while we were waiting around for him to be taken care of, he'd see someone, and he could just sense that something had gone wrong with this woman, and he would go over and be like the first person to actually counsel her, because he knew to tell her that it would be all right and she would get over it. He had great ideas. He was a schemer. He was always thinking of another way to make money, but he didn't have enough. He would always give up too easily. If he came across the first obstacle in his plan, he would maybe bang at it once or twice and then just give up and go on to the next scheme. And that was unfortunate, but that's just the way he was. I think that came from because his father had been one of those perfectionist alcoholic fathers, and nothing was ever good enough, that he learned these bad habits. He could come home as a child with, out of let's say 5 classes, have 4 100s, and no mention would be made of the 4 100s. It would just be, you only got a 90 in this class. Why did you do that? That's not good enough. And that colored his entire viewpoint on everything. It was never good enough. He was never good enough. He had been invited to go to state to play bass fiddle in high school, but he didn't believe the teacher when they invited him, because he thought they were just being nice, and he didn't understand. It just didn't get to him that they wouldn't invite you unless you had the talent, which played again later when he scored so high in his testing to go into the Navy. He had been offered a scholarship to Annapolis, and he turned it down because he felt he wasn't disciplined enough to go to college. He at time was difficult because he had all this baggage. It was difficult to deal with him, but I would pretty much just do a lot of Marge Simpson's going, you know, because that was pretty much my way of dealing with anything. I accepted all his stuff. I just accepted him the way he was. I accepted his weirdness because I knew I was weird. I had my baggage. Here we go to the small story. On date number 2, before we even started the date, he came clean. He said, I have a girlfriend. The only reason why I asked you out for the date was because my girlfriend told me to. He had proposed to her, and she had told him, I think we should see other people to make sure that this is what we're doing is right, and the feelings are right. Which is girl speak for, oh no, I want to break up with you, but I don't have a backbone enough to say it, or I'm afraid of repercussions. When he told me this, I was just kind of like, you fell for that? But you're older than me, and you're smart. How could you possibly fall for that line? But I didn't say anything. I was like, okay. He's like, so do you still want to go out with me? Yeah. You know, I didn't see he was taken. This was a girlfriend. She obviously turned down the proposal. So in my mind, you know, we didn't have those rules established. It was date 2. We didn't have any sort of rules established on our relationship yet. So it was about a few dates later that he admitted he was becoming attached to me. That he had fallen in love, and he was all chewed up about this. How can I be in love with two people? You're both wonderful women. I don't understand. Which to me was just like, oh God, drama. And I'm not a romantic person by nature. He was the romantic. So I was like, you know, yeah, I cared for him, don't get me wrong, but I was never this kind of like fire rockets, that kind of thing that went on. I never experienced that kind of love, so I don't understand it. So he's like, I said he was angsting over this. I said, you need to settle this. You need to call her up and settle this and decide what you want to do with your life. Because once you decide, then I know what I'm doing with my life. So he was like, yeah, right, okay. So he got a pile of change, dollars and dollars of quarters, because we didn't have cell phones back then. And we were about to go on a date, and so he pulled over the car in a parking lot and went over to a payphone. Took out the pile of change, started popping it in. His girlfriend lived in Connecticut, and he would see her normally on the weekends because she was in college. She was in her 3rd or 4th year of college. So he called her up. He was on the phone for a while, and I was just waiting patiently in the car. He got done with the conversation about 45 minutes in, came back into the car, just sat there for a second. Okay, where are we going for dinner? I said, whoa, wait a minute, time out. What do you mean, where are we going for dinner? What happened? Where are we at? He's like, where we're at is, I don't have her as a girlfriend anymore, and I'd like to go out with you. So where are we going for dinner? I said, okay, let's do this. Fast forward, about a few months later, not even, about a month later, we were at an SCA event, and he ran into somebody from the Connecticut area who was down on Long Island going to our event. And he's like, do you know, I'm going to name her Sheila. I can't remember what her name was. He's like, do you know Sheila from up at such and such? And he's like, yeah, I know her. He's like, man, you can't imagine what just happened. Seems she had 2 boyfriends. She had one during school year, and then when she'd be out of school, she had one, her summer boyfriend. Neither one of them knew about the other. And my husband's like, really? Wow, she was totally slick. Who would have known? It's like, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine being with either one of those guys. I would just be so pissed and like, He's like, but man, she's pulled it off for years. It's like, who would have known? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, I just wanted to give you that information, you know, catch up on what's going on up in that shire or wherever she was from upstate. And he's like, yeah, thanks for giving me that information. And he turns around the guy and they leave. He leaves. And my husband, I just look at him, I kirked an eyebrow. And he was like, He's like, who would have known? Okay. And I'm like, you okay? He's like, I'd be angry if I didn't think I got the better deal out of this. But I think I did. I think I made the better choice, obviously. I said, yeah, looks like you did. If you want to know anything more about my husband, tell me in the comments or email me or what have you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.